Garfield's Ghost Stories. The Lady of the Mist. Fingers of mist floated off the mountain lake, creeping through the trees until they coiled around the log cabin where Garfield, John, and Odie sat staring at the fire on the hearth. John sighed. "I'm really depressed tonight," he said. "Maybe it's this fog. Maybe it's because our vacation is nearly over." "Maybe it's because any second we could be eaten by a bear," suggested Garfield. "Being out here in the mountains, miles from other people, it makes me realize how lonely I am," John continued. "I mean, it's great to have pets, but I'm missing that one special person." "Me too," Garfield agreed. "It's the pizza delivery man." Suddenly, Odie jumped to his feet and began sniffing the air. "What is it, Odie?" John whispered. Giving a low growl, Odie pointed at the cabin door. "Something's out there," said Garfield. "It could be a pet-eating bear." There was a light knock at the door. A very polite pet-eating bear. John unlocked the door and peeked outside. Then he swung the door wide open. There in the mist stood a woman in a down jacket, jeans, and hiking boots. "Sorry to bother you," she said softly, "but do you think I could stay here tonight?" "Would you?" said John. "I mean, come in." The woman stepped inside. In the firelight, her face looked very pale. Pale but beautiful, John thought. "I'm John Arbuckle," said John, extending his hand. "Emily Webb," said the woman. "Brr, your hand is like ice," said John. "How long have you been out there?" "Seems like forever," she replied. "I was trying to get back to my campsite, but I couldn't find it in this fog." "You'll have no problem finding it in the morning," John said. "But for now, I'll put another log on the fire, and get you a blanket, and make some hot chocolate." While John was fussing around the cabin, his two pets introduced themselves to the stranger. "I'm Garfield, and this is Odie," said Garfield. "We're glad you're not a bear. Got any snacks?" "You have adorable pets, John," she said. "They take after their owner," John replied. "Odie, I think we've been insulted," said Garfield. John brought the hot chocolate. He and Emily sat by the fire. They talked. Emily was a botanist studying the mountain flowers. She'd found some unusual specimens near the rim of Bottomless Gorge. The more she talked, the brighter the gleam in John's eyes became. "Uh-oh," Garfield said to Odie. "John's got that happily ever after look on his face again. I see a major rejection on the horizon." It grew late. John insisted that Emily take the bed while he and his pets bedded down on the floor. "You're very kind, John," said Emily. "Then I wish he'd kindly stop hogging the covers," complained Garfield. Under the blankets, John whispered to his pets, "Am I a lucky guy or what? She's beautiful, she's intelligent, I think I've met the woman of my dreams." "And she's met the man of her nightmares," grumbled Garfield. "Go to sleep." When they awoke the next morning, the mist had disappeared, and so had the woman. John rushed outside. "Emily! Emily!" he called. There was no reply. "Where is she?" John cried. "We've got to find her." "I find better on a full stomach," Garfield reminded him. "She must be hiking back to her camp," John decided. "Probably didn't want to bother me. Isn't she thoughtful? Come on, we'll take the car and catch her." John shoved Garfield and Odie into the car. They sped off, bumping and skidding on the dirt road. Suddenly they saw a ranger walking along the road ahead. John screeched to a halt. "Have you seen a woman named Emily Webb?" John demanded. He described Emily to the ranger. "Haven't seen her," said the ranger, "but neither have you, really." "What do you mean?" The ranger leaned on the car. "Emily Webb came here about 5 years ago to study the flowers. Nice lady, smart lady, but one day she disappeared. We hunted for her for a long time. Finally, our helicopter spotted her body on a ledge in the Bottomless Gorge. Guess she must have slipped. We tried, but we never could reach her. The ledge was too far down." "But I saw her last night," John blurted out. "Oh, people do see her. On misty nights, she sometimes stops by a cabin. Her spirit just gets lonely, I suppose. Anyway, now you can tell your grandkids that you've seen a ghost." "Funny, She didn't look ghostish, said Garfield. The ranger walked on, leaving John slumped over the wheel. Just my luck. I fell in love with a ghost, moaned John. I'll never find that special someone. I'll always be alone. Garfield and Odie looked at each other. Alone? Don't be ridiculous, said Garfield. Then he and Odie gave John a big hug. Thanks, guys, said John. I really needed that. Hey, replied Garfield. What are pets for? The end.